Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome, 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 one and all again to the Good Morning Walk. Hope you're all fine. Unfortunately, today, weather, as always, we are at the whims of the weather. It's not raining at the moment, but it was raining a lot earlier. The fields were very, very, very muddy, damp, and completely sodden today. So unfortunately, no actual walk today. We're indoors. But as I've always said, when we do indoors, this does give us an opportunity to have a look at videos, articles, etc. when we are doing this type of thing. So, as always, thank you for everyone for joining us today. So, good morning to Cavaland 100. Good morning to you. Billy, good morning to you as well. Cathlo G, good morning to you. Yeah, it's likely George Galloway will be disruptive in the House of Commons. Oh, absolutely, he's going to be disruptive. And if you haven't seen the undercover footage that came out yesterday, going to be interesting. So we'll have a look at this, because this is George Galloway speaking to a constituent when he doesn't think the cameras are rolling. I think it's very, very important to point to this type of stuff, because it highlights the stuff that Galloway's been doing. And remember, at the moment, I haven't seen it if this is true or not, but Phil mentioned this last night, but there were 2 separate leaflets going around that Galloway was meant to be sending out. So I haven't seen any of the leaflets myself, but it wouldn't surprise me, because he's apparently been sending one leaflet to the Muslim communities in Rochdale saying, hey, isn't, Palestine really important? And another one he was sending to, should we say, the non-Muslim community, complaining about immigration. Yeah. So if those come to light, I think Galloway is going to be in very, very big trouble. But he's not going to last long. He does not last long at a general election. He is gone very, very quickly, I think, in this. Mike, good morning to you. Pretty Bird, good morning to you as well. Yeah, I saw this as well. He wants to sit with Corbyn and David Davis. I don't think they'll be very happy. If Corbyn sides with, and sidles up and starts getting friendly with Galloway, that will be a massive mistake for Corbyn. He will go very, very much down in my books, to be honest, if he does say that. But there you go. Going to be having many cups of tea. To be honest, I hadn't thought about that. But if you would like to buy me a coffee, there is a link down below the way you can do that. So, but as always, like I say, click the like, click the share button. Thank you very much, guys, for all joining me this morning. So let's get on, I think, to this, because this came out this morning. I haven't seen this myself. Hopefully, there is no swearing. But it wouldn't surprise me if there was. There we go. So this is Galloway being filmed. Oh, hang on. Did I? Hang on. Let me make sure. Yep. Audio. Make sure I've got this. So this is how Galloway speaks to a constituent when he doesn't think there's cameras on him. You can just tell by the angle. So let's see what happens when he's speaking to someone when he doesn't think the cameras are watching.
Last year, I'm going to do my dad worried for you, or my family must have worried for you. But to be honest with you, I don't think there's been no changes.
How could there be changes? How could one MP make a change?
I'm saying to you,
I love that. there's not going to be changes. How can one MP make a change? Really? Bear in mind, Galloway's pitch, Galloway's, victory speech was the whole idea that he and only he could make a victory of this.
For the last Labour, for the last vote, the last election, I haven't seen you. I haven't seen you nowhere.
You've got to come and see me. I can't see
85,000
people.
All right. Some people say, well, Galloway gone Galloway. You can't see Galloway nowhere. Galloway, people try linking you, Galloway, but they can't find you. But when it comes back to when it comes back to the elections, you come back.
Listen, I'm not even standing in the fucking elections. I don't want your fucking vote. So don't give me that shit. And I'm not even asking for your vote. I don't want your vote.
I'm not saying to you. I'm not saying to you my vote. I'm just saying to you.
You're talking shit.
Wow. Wow. That got a bit aggressive. That got very aggressive. I mean, I'll just let that play. But yeah, and just look when he moves in a bit closer because he's talking about, well, where are you? We haven't seen you, and you only appear at elections. It's like, oh, but I'm on Facebook. But no, where are you? Where are you as like a constituent? Where are you meant to be talking about this stuff? Then he gets up, he looks around, and at this point, he's going, oh, but I'm on Facebook, and then leans into him like that. I don't want your vote. That is quite aggressive. And at least he knows, he goes, yeah, Galloway's not going to last long as an MP. He is not going to last long at all. He doesn't last long at that point. He really doesn't. And then this tweet as well resurfaced. Galloway tweeting at Hamza Yusuf, the leader of the SNP at the moment. He said, well, hashtag Hamza, you're not more Scottish than me. You're not a Celt like me. You're not working class like me. You didn't go to a state school like me. You're not more socialist than me. Stop pretending you're a poser. Hashtag and he adds in Alliance for Unity. There's some very, like I say, there's a ton of tweets coming around through this. Lib Dems getting in there, illuminating but not surprising. Would not surprise me if there's more stuff out there about this. Let's have a look, see if we can find it. Wouldn't surprise me if he's trending. Or at least he's on here somewhere. Oh yeah, did you also see Matthew Mercer's video? I thought that's quite sad, but never mind. We won't cover that too that much. Yeah, Workers' Party removes the whip. Galloway takes it. Galloway takes the whip away from himself. Is Galloway's plan just to anger everyone? Probably. He's just going to be an absolute trouble spot. That's all his objective is. Galloway doesn't care because he will try and grab as much attention as he can, and he will try and drag this all to his YouTube channel. In fact, hang on. Let's take a look at his YouTube channel. I'm surprised he hasn't done anything up here yet. So this is Galloway's YouTube channel. Instantly, one of the things you should be pointing to. Why is he talking to someone like Scott Ritter, a twice convicted paedophile? Very much takes the pro-Russia stance that Russia is winning. That Russia is about to win any moment. Of course, again, appears quite a bit on Russia Today. Does Scott Ritter. And yet there's Galloway not having any pushback or anything like that against him. Doesn't surprise me. We'll be able to find like other people that he's had interviews with that are just like, well, that's a bit suspicious. Oh, that's his campaign manager, the guy who's kicked out from Labour for being anti-Semitic. Surprise, surprise. He's now part of the Galloway campaign. Again, that was probably his response to Tucker talking about Putin. Again, another interview with Scott Ritter. Like I say, and some of these people who is having interviews with him, I guarantee you some of these people have some very, very dodgy pasts that he interviews. Or should we say, locked in with him, shall we say. Yep. So probably criticizing Ukraine for talking about drafting people there wouldn't surprise me, but that is a conversation that's going on in Ukraine at the moment about drafting. They're still having lots of problems, Ukraine at the moment, drafting themselves because the system is absolutely a disaster of drafting because it's still very sort of post-Soviet problems that it's having. UN, rest in peace. Not surprising he's against the UN. Wow. Putin and the whistle-stop Middle East mission. Really? Promoting the fact that, Putin's going to the Middle East. Oh, no. And, of course, that guy is an infamous tanky on YouTube, a guy called Infrared. I think, is that Jackson Hinkle? That is, isn't it? Oh, talking about the Venezuela-Guyana thing. Not surprising. That's not Jackson Hinkle, is it? Am I being... See what he has to say about this.
My question for our next guest, Haz Al-Din, will discuss this matter. So let's bring on Haz. He's the host of the Infrared webcast, which you can find on the streaming platform Kick. He's also
a massive tanky. And he seems to have gone very, very much recently. You can see with the swords there, and for some reason he's put a carpet up there. I don't know if that's for soundproofing or whether it's just to sort of look good. But yeah, oh god, dare we watch some infrared stuff, because this is going to be crazy. This is going to be sane.
So an author, a commentator, and a political theorist. And he's a good friend of mine. Haz, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you doing? Thanks for having me on.
I'm doing well. So I don't know if you caught the last segment. I was briefly discussing the situation in Venezuela. I think a lot of people might not truly understand what's happening here. So could you give a brief summary about what this disputed territory called Guyana Essequibo is, why Venezuela just declared it the 24th state of their country, and why the U.S. wants to start a new war over that territory?
Oh, really? The US wants to start a war over this territory? Oh my, okay. Okay. Yeah, I forget. This is full on tanky nonsense. So let me tell you what's really happening in Venezuela and Guyana at the moment. Maduro, the current leader of Venezuela, is in a massive trouble. His policies, his stuff just isn't working out at all. So in a bit of act of desperation, he has now reached out to try and annex a very large part of Guyana. Venezuela has said historically, this part of Guyana belongs to us. It's a very large chunk of Guyana that they want to take. Pretty much all the state of Guyana. You were talking roughly, I think it's like 60-70% of the current country of Guyana they're talking about annexing. And it is Venezuela annexing. The people of Guyana have not been asked if they want to be part of Venezuela. Venezuela did a mock sham referendum asking people of Venezuela, hey, do you want us to ignore international law that says, Guyana doesn't belong to you, and, you don't have any claims over Guyana, just go and annex that. And of course, for the past couple of months now, Venezuelan troops and Guyana troops have been staring across each other at the border, because the Venezuelan troops are just there to stop illegal mining operations. That's all they're there for, guys. Nothing suspicious about that. Of course, in response to this, we've sent a destroyer to say, hey, don't do that. The US has also cautioned Venezuela from doing this as well. Even Brazil has gotten involved in this and said, hey, Venezuela, don't do this. Don't go into Guyana. They've even put special forces up along that area as well, potentially signaling that if they did do something, that Brazil might get involved in this. It's very, very interesting at the moment.
So when Simón Bolívar launched his war of independence against Spain in the early 19th century, Guyana Essequibo.
I love it. Going all the way back. You do not need to go all the way back to Simón Bolívar and his revolution against the Spanish to try and explain the current situation that's going on in Guyana. It's shocking when what he is doing right now is the exact same thing that Putin did to Tucker, going on this 30-minute rant about Russian history from a very Russian-centric point of view. it's insane how these, you know, these two very different, shall we say, meant to be sides of the different political spectrum act very similar to each other. Very similar to each other.
Was part of the territory of Venezuela. When Venezuela, I don't know if it seceded, when it was no longer part of the Grand Colombia Confederation in 1830, this was part of its territory. The British, however, saw fit to decide the boundary of their own colony they got from the Dutch called British Guyana. And they decided that that territory was going to cut into what Venezuela had already claimed. So after 1841, Venezuela was contesting this.
Still doesn't justify annexing, you know, 60-70% of a country, does it? You know, what do the Guyanans think about being annexed by Venezuela? They've said they don't want it. They don't want to be part of Venezuela. Once again, if you are, you know, an ideologically aligned country that these people like, these countries can just do anything they want. Yeah, Patrick, it's always the fault of the Brits. Always the fault. If it's not the Brits, it's always the Americans to blame.
And it wouldn't be resolved, quote unquote, unfairly, I should add, until the end of the century, where basically a tribunal was convened by the United States, Britain, and Russia, which at the time was a British ally, which said that the territory, Guyana Essequibo, actually belongs to the British, to British Guyana.
And that ruling has been upheld by multiple international courts. Even when Guyana was independent, this has been upheld by international courts. Just saying, you know.
Fast forward half a century, and British Guyana is going to get independence from Britain. So they go back to the table and they decide at the Geneva Convention of 1966 that going forward, they were going to settle this matter bilaterally. And it was never settled. However, under international law, Guyana
it was settled. It was settled because multiple international courts have agreed that Guyana is its own country. It is separate from Venezuela. The Ghanaians do not want to be part of Venezuela. I think that counts for quite a bit, to be honest. And the idea of just having a referendum in Venezuela where you can just go out and say, you know what? That's all ours now. What on earth? What on earth? And bear in mind, this is the exact same type of conversation they would say about Ukraine.
Cuba and its waters were disputed territory. The issue did not raise its significance again until the late or the middle of the 2010s, where it was discovered that there was oil in the Guyana Essequibo region, which led.
Yeah, and that oil belongs to Guyana. That oil belongs to Guyana. You know, they are going to benefit off that oil field. But Venezuela wants that oil. That's why they want to suddenly annex this section of Guyana, because whoops, that all that oil belongs to us, but he's going to somehow say that, you know, America is really wants that oil.
ExxonMobil and others to flock to the region, more or less buy out the government of Guyana and acquire these unprecedented rights to mine the oil there, basically ripping off the people of Guyana and drilling oil in disputed territory, which is a violation of international law. And they started drilling it. And over the past few decades, sorry,
that territory where the oil is, where they are drilling, is not internationally disputed. That is Guyanan international territory. It is theirs. Everyone recognizes it as theirs, except Venezuela, who would like to take that territory so that they could have the oil, so that Maduro can, profit a bit more off the oil sales to sort of help prop up his very, very much failing government. Because I don't know if you've seen something else very recently. Immigration from Venezuela to other South American countries quite high at the moment. Quite high.
over the past decade, Venezuela has tried everything they could to get Guyana to come to the table and settle this matter bilaterally. Just them two.
Yeah. And you know what they've been saying? They've been saying it all the time. That territory is ours. And the hope is that if they don't have a stronger partner with them, the hope is if they don't have a stronger partner, then Venezuela can just go, well, that's ours now. The Ghanaians have made it very, very clear they don't want to be part of Venezuela.
But Guyana, under pressure by ExxonMobil, has refused. It's insisted that they take the matter to the International Court of Justice, which...
Yes, because they don't want to do it on one-on-one. The international courts have sided with them time and time again that territory belongs to them. This isn't a territorial dispute. This is an open shut case. Maduro is just doing this because, he wants that oil. He wants to prop up his government. Yeah. If Brazil are involved, Venezuela will lose. Well, Brazil are involved. They've put special forces up in the north along their sort of border under very similar. Well, they've gone, well, if Venezuela's found all these illegal mining activities, maybe we should just check this territory just in case, guys. Just in case. And oh yeah, by the way, if you do invade Guyana, these forces are going to help Guyana. Yeah, if Venezuela wants to fight over Guyanan oil, then they will have to deal with Brazil, us, and the Americans, and somehow I don't fancy their chances. No. Yeah. That would be a very, very quick intervention. A very, very quick intervention. And like I say, it's not the US that's starting this war. It's Venezuela insisting that territory belongs to them, even having a referendum to ignore international law to annex that territory. Yeah, sounds good, right? Sounds good.
Which is in violation of the Geneva Agreement, where they decided they were going to settle it bilaterally. So
they can't change their minds then and say, no, we'd rather go to the international court because we'd worried that, you might be able to sort of strong arm a lot of this stuff. Let's see what they're going to do. Guyana. Can Western countries afford to fight proxy wars? Why does it continue to prop up Israel? How long can Israel last? How long can Israel last? Given the fact that this guy is a tanky, I think he is more saying along that lines of, well, yeah. I think we can heavily sort of imply what potential that's going to be. Regional war, probably talking about more Israel, Yemen. Goals for Americans. But anyway, let's finish this off part about Guyana, because this is just an incredibly monumentally wrong reading. But again, it's Jackson Hinkle and Infrared. What would we expect? And by the way, if this is your first time encountering these two, I do apologize introducing you to these two, because they are absolutely awful and terrible on so many fronts.
Well, just recently, the limits of their patience being exhausted, especially with the news that Guyana was inviting the United States to build a military base there, undoubtedly to protect the assets of ExxonMobil.
Gee, they're being threatened. This country being threatened with invasion and annexation by Venezuela. Goes, hey, America, would you like to have a military base? Yeah. Guyana doing that under the threat of, being annexed by Venezuela kind of makes a lot of sense.
Venezuela decided they've had enough. So they held a referendum to reaffirm their stance on the matter of the dispute that Guyana Essequibo was part of Venezuelan territory. And I believe Maduro...
You can't just do that. You can't just do that. Otherwise, there's just so much ridiculous stuff you could just do by just holding a referendum. Oh, tell you what, guys, we are going to wreck the Angevinian Empire, meaning that essentially we get all of Aquitaine back, Normandy, Maine, just all those, just that, that part of France, and that referendum is only going to be held in the UK. And if the UK people vote that way, then France has absolutely no justification. It has absolutely no justification against that. Even if the international law, law courts come out and say, sorry, you can't just do that. Well, sorry, but we had a referendum. Yeah. Again, using the same logic, most of the world is British territory. Exactly. There's just so much nonsense you could just pull. Using that exact same justification that they are trying to say for that. So yeah, it's yeah. Guyana also probably doesn't have a lot of oil drilling expertise, so they'll need someone like ExxonMobil if they want to access that oil. Yep. If you want that type of expertise, then yeah, you will have to go to someone else who has that expertise. Guyana is not that big of a country, so it would probably have to go to someone like ExxonMobil and say, "Can you help us out with that?" Now, Guyana is going to profit from that. He's going to profit from that, but so will ExxonMobil. Shock horror, a company profiting from something. Jez Hunt, history will look back at these very little men with very little ideas and will be forgotten. That's all that will be remembered. There will be a lot of wars that were started over oil that ravaged the planet. Yeah. That's also true. Have they asked the native population if they want their land back? Yeah, like I say, both these guys are notorious idiots. But yeah, his entire reading of the situation in Guyana, the Venezuela Guyana dispute at the moment is just wrong. just wrong from start to finish. You do not need to go all the way back to Simon Bolivar to somehow justify that. Oh, sorry, Venezuela gets 60 to 70% of Guyanan territory. Sorry, we've had a referendum, and that referendum says yes. Sorry, Guyana, the Venezuelan people have spoken.
Has given these oil companies 3 months to leave the premises, and that immediately Venezuelan companies, which by the way are by and large state-owned, therefore sovereign, can start drilling there. He's issued an order to
really Maduro has issued an order for ExxonMobil to vacate their current premises so that the national oil company of Venezuela can come into Guyanan territory and start drilling oil. Oh, yeah. Patrick H, yeah. Go back even further. South America belongs to Spain. Yep. Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe Spain can just have a referendum and it can just take back all like its South American holdings. Maybe that's what they just need to do. But if you put this logic to these guys, they won't accept that. They won't accept that what Venezuela is doing ain't like another previous country could do with previous historical claims or whatever. It's just pure nonsense. Yeah, Jez Hunt. Wales was going to get all of England. We have a referendum in Pristan, and we're going to completely strip mine the home countries. Yeah, exactly. this rhetoric, this logic, does not just does not make any sense. Ben, just seen the Galloway clip. He really leans into that gentleman. Blimey. Yeah. It would not surprise me if there were other clips that would come out, or other people suddenly start filming clips. Because the guy is not. The guy is not. He's not serious about being an MP. He's just there to cause trouble. Just be a loud mouthpiece. Yeah. Maduro. History began with Simon Bolivar. Others, but what about the people who were there first? Maduro. History began with Simon Bolivar. Yeah. Another good point. Yeah. Maybe we can take back 13 colonies. Maybe, yeah, all that eastern coast that America has, that's ours now. Yeah, Italians own most of Europe, North Africa. Yeah, after the Romans. Yeah, that's it. That's it, guys. Really, we've all just got to give up our countries and just reform the Roman Empire. That's the true solution to all these crises. That's it. Restore the Roman Empire. That way, I can go back to like marketing, gladiatorial fights. What fun that will be for marketeers and advertisers. Oh, yeah, the logic they are espousing here just doesn't. The second you start to think about it, doesn't make any sense. Yeah, that's it. I've licked it, so it's mine. The School of International Claim, based on the I called dibs first protocol. Yep. Pretty bird. You can take back the original 13, but we keep the other 37 states. Yeah. Well, that means we get Florida, unfortunately. So, hey. Anyway, let's finish this off.
Give identity cards to the residents of Guyana Essequibo, making them Venezuelan citizens with the full.
Were they asked if they want to be Venezuelan citizens? Don't think so.
Rights, protections afforded by that. And undoubtedly, it's going to be portrayed and is already being portrayed as an act of unwarranted aggression, just like in the
It is. It is an act of unwarranted aggression. What? Pretty Bird, Florida, are you sure you want it? Maybe not. Maybe we'll just make Florida an independent country. It can, do its own thing. As long as you get Trump, it's a deal. maybe we'll have to consider it very, very carefully. have to consider it very, very carefully.
the case of Russia's SMO in Ukraine, that accusation is devoid of.
See, he can't even call it. He can't even call it a war in Ukraine. He's calling it an SMO, a special military operation. Sorry, it's a war. And bear in mind, Jackson Hinkle, regular appearer on things like RT, Russia Today, has here, aka Infrared. Don't think he's ever appeared on RT, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did, given that type of language.
Of knowledge of the context.
Yeah. So basically, this was Venezuelan land. Then the British Empire used international football politics to steal the land. Then in 2015, they found that there's a lot of oil on this land. Then the U.S. controlled government.
Gee, I wonder why. I wonder why Venezuela suddenly took an interest in Guyana and maybe wanting that territory back.
And in Guyana decided that they were going to invite ExxonMobil and the U.S. military down to exploit the land. Venezuela the whole time has been engaged in diplomatic negotiations, and now they've recognized it as part of their.
I like that. Yeah, Venezuela were just engaged in diplomatic negotiations to just take about 60 to 70% of Guyanan territory. Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't stolen. It was a British special military operation, so it's fair and legal. Blaming the Brits, what a surprise. Yeah, for a bit of context, Guyana is longer than Britain and has a population of about 800k. Yeah, it's a long country, but they're talking about annexing a fair amount of it. Like I say, 80% of Guyana just goes. Well, not 80%, about it's like 60, 70% of Guyana they're asking for. At that. Yeah, isn't Mongolia entitled to claim China and Russia? Oh yeah, yeah. Bring back the Mongol Empire. Oh yeah, diplomacy at the end of a gun. Exactly. Yeah. What about the First Nation peoples? Don't they get a say? Yep. Just ignore the fact that all this stuff is just going on. All because Venezuela gets what it wants because it's a socialist country. These two massively authoritarian left-wing people that if they like a country, well, that country gets to do what it wants, aka Russia. So Russia gets all of Ukraine. Venezuela, oh, we like Maduro, we like his country, regardless of what those policies are doing to Venezuela. He gets Guyana. Sorry, guy. I think it's already been said in the chat. I can't remember who said it. Yeah, Craig, you said it. Yeah, I've licked it, so it's mine. Yeah, this is not how you should be conducting international diplomacy. No, the Vikings will get Russia. They just called dibs before the Mongols. So maybe, I don't know, Sweden, Denmark, and Norway can, split up Russia in the way that they get it. Martin Arnold, these people aren't socialists. Don't mistake this. Well, they would say otherwise. Has would definitely disagree and say that he's a socialist. So would Jackson Hinkle as well. That's what they go around calling themselves, and I agree with you. They aren't socialists at all. They are very, very, very left wing authoritarians, which almost makes them very, very right wing in a way. Trump is in a great deep legal trouble. His popularity is just going away. He's loyal 30% of the Republicans, but very few supporters beyond that. Trump will quite likely be in jail by November. We can only hope. Pretty much just split Russia at the Urals. Yeah. Send an aircraft carrier. It's fixed now. I'll see. No, I know the tankies, but tankies aren't socialist. Again, they would disagree with you on that. Like I say, they would very much disagree with you on that. Like I say, they will call themselves socialist on that front. Infrared is more widely known in the American debate sphere. He isn't respected there either. Yeah, I would never want to get into a chat or talk with someone like Has, because it would just go south so fast, so very quickly. You want an example? Look at the conversation he had in real life with Dylan Burns, where Has tried to start a boxing match or some sort of fight with him, but yeah, there you go. Anyway,
territory because the Western states are trying to steal it from right underneath their feet. So I'm
wait, Western powers are trying to steal this territory under the feet. No, it's Guyana and Venezuela that are involved in this dispute. There's no Western powers involved in this. It is Venezuela that is trying to steal Guyana's territory by saying that they can have a referendum and that they just get Guyana.
I'm curious. I doubt anyone in the West is actually thinking about this with a rational mind, but maybe you could answer the question. Do you think that Western countries like the United States and the United Kingdom can afford to fight a proxy war in Ukraine against Russia, a proxy genocide against the people of Gaza through Israel, prepare for a new war with China and Taiwan, and also fight a war against Venezuela and Guyana all at the same time?
The short answer is no.
The short answer is yes. The reality is, if Venezuela went into Guyana, they would be immediately issued within 24 hours by America, by us, by, bear in mind, you notice they're not bringing Brazil into this conversation because Brazil will have a lot to say about Venezuela trying to do this. Yeah, this war would not go very well for Venezuela. Their army is not that shall we say good. They would be probably be absolutely booted out with Guyana very, very quickly, mostly by Brazilian troops, probably backed up by air power from America, from aircraft carriers. Yeah, it would not be it would be a very, very quick war. They would be kicked out of Guyana, and then they would go, okay, you're out of Guyana now. If you don't stop this, if you don't give up your ambitions for this, we're just gonna continue into the rest of your country. And bear in mind, it would be Brazil that would be leading the campaign on this, especially on the ground, probably backed up by, as you said, American air power from aircraft carriers. That's what would happen. But yeah, that is, of course, the type of caliber that George Galloway has on his YouTube channel. Oh God, he's updated it. George Galloway, MP. Oh, it wouldn't be surprised me what his popular videos is. How is this? George Galloway versus ill-informed audience member. George Galloway versus the U.S. Testament. The end of the Piers show. Oh dear. Is the coronavirus man-made? Oh dear. Oh dearie me. Has he engaged in some anti-vax conspiracy nonsense? Would not surprise me. Oh look, there's Gonzo Lira. Again, does not surprise me that he's interviewing Gonzo Lira. What a surprise. That's the one where he refused to debate someone because they were, quote, a Zionist. Even though it was just a student at the Oxford University Debating Club. That's a bit, the dollar is dying. Oh, look, George Galloway on Venezuela. Oh, look, here's another one with Gonzo Lira. The Russians are winning. Another one with Gonzo Lira. Again, Scott Ritter, Jackson Hinkle. It's just so much stuff. You could probably find so much stuff to throw at Galloway just on this. You could just find so much stuff on that. But there you go. Are we doing your head and why? What are we doing? What was this? The Rochdale vote wasn't about Galloway. Focusing on him misses the point. It just makes you look like massively out of touch. Really? So Galloway will say that this whole thing was about Palestine. Bear in mind, we've passed a ceasefire motion in Parliament. Hale Giel was killed not too long ago. Yes, he died in prison. Does he have anything on the Rwanda regime? Could be awkward. I don't know. It doesn't George Galloway doesn't tend to focus on Africa. From what I've seen, doesn't like to, shall we say, focus on Africa on that front. Yes, really, there's a massive deficit in working class representation. Oh, really? So you're saying that George Galloway is going to be a better representation for the British working class? Bear in mind, GG is awful. Oh yeah. And here's the thing. Owen Jones did a massive like think piece in the Guardian about this, saying that, oh, this is actually like a massive problem for Starmer. I would say, actually, this is a massive problem for the left as a whole. Because if we are not attracting, and if you are not winning with left-wing ideas, as we are apparently told that, you know, Corbyn was so good, why didn't he win? If Corbyn and left-wing ideas are that good that they can win and attract people, why didn't he win? He didn't win because he screwed up general elections time after time, unfortunately. But that's just the reality of the situation. Like I said, he wasn't a good leader. He just wasn't a good leader. But it's a more indictment, I'd say, of the left. And it does show that, you know, left-wing groups, left-wing causes as a whole need to really find, you know, what we can do to sort of raise our voice. And Labour getting into power, the next Labour government, does offer us a massive opportunity to get progressive stuff done. You know, I keep on saying that, and I will not keep stopping saying that, because that is the hope that we can really deliver in the next Parliament. And the more you defeat the Tories, the more that gives us the room to manoeuvre on that. No, I'm not saying that all people did vote for Labour, because Labour failed to provide a solution to the Palestinian crisis, and because in general Labour are not listening. Well, again, this is why you need to sort of, you know, make them listen. This is why you join these, you know, the Labour groups of the like left-wing progressive groups that are in Labour. You give them more voice, you give them more power, and you are able to do stuff within Labour. That is what you should do. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people on the left who, the second Corbyn left, went, guess it's over now, guys. Sorry. And just went away. It's just a complete, I think, wrongful reading of what happened in like the post-Corbyn sphere. That they all just said, it's too hard work. We're just going to go away. And that's what I keep on hearing. This is what, when I hear this, it does make me just feel that there's a lot of people on the left who've just given up because it's too hard work doing politics. And you lose in politics. You lose a lot more than you actually win. But when you do win, you win very, very big. And it's worth keeping on fighting. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people on the left who, because they've lost a fight, don't get back on that horse. They get disheartened, and then they just go in a way. So this is one of the things that, you know, I've talked about numerous times on my channel about this. But yes, I need to get going because I've got stuff to do today. So thank you very much for joining me today's indoor good morning walk. I'm sorry for subjecting you to Jackson Hinkle and Infrared. Sorry if that was your first time discovering these people. I'm sorry that I've now added that knowledge to your brain, unfortunately. But no, I'm gonna get off. I've got stuff to do today, unfortunately. But do remember to click on the like and share button on your way out. And of course, subscribe if you're new to the channel. And of course, we'll see you all next time. Hopefully, you know, as we've said before, weather permitting, next Saturday we will be out and about. But again, weather permitting. And of course, ground permitting as well. Like I say, this morning the mud was very, very bad. I think staying upright would be quite a challenge if this morning. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.